Good morning, Fractal Effects team. We're just tracking the market from the morning session. Before we get started, make sure you read the disclosure in the footer section of fractaleffects.com. If you're following along with us today, make sure you're doing a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. Today we did have a news drop, so we are going to be focusing primarily on oil. Just waiting for a confirmation. I just wanted to go over NAS here. We have a mixed model buy as far as the spotlight strategy. We have currently an upside expansion model, slight upside expansion, but as you can see, the range is still within, which becomes more of a trumpet model, where you've taken out both sides, and that's exactly what's happened. We have not had a double break, but US 500 hit a 4-hour fair value gap down here. We have consolidation. I'm going to push up. And this is the first 5M fair value gap that has been created, or it's in the process of being created. 3 minutes left. That's also our NYC fair value gap. And we just went right into the blue zone. Our DSD high and low are tight. They're on top of each other. Both have been violated though. This is still a clean MM. We had one wick down here, no double break, first 5M fair value gap. We're going to jump back and forth between that and oil. I just want to track this and show you guys the analysis. So we have a buy model, mixed model buy. Excuse me. We violated the DSD high, well above it. There's our manipulation range, broke above it. No double break. This is the first 5M bearish fair value gap that it's created. Just want to check the 4-hour. See if we hit anything up here. So we have hit this huge 4-hour fair value gap here. This 4 hour has been violated. Got another 4 hour down here. Let's see if it fills it in. So we did take out, just want to see if we took out, yeah, we took out this 4 hour high. Could get a reversal up here. Remember, always know what's happening on the higher time frame. That's why it's called fractal effects. What's happening on a smaller scale is happening on a bigger scale and vice versa. So far, again, we have a clean MM to the upside. So depending on what we do here, this thing could push right back into the blue zone. Just want to see if we get a bearish confirmation. So we want a bearish confirmation this late in the game. Could get it on this candle retracement back into the only 5M fair value gap created, and then a drop. And just be cognizant of this big 5M fair value gap. But we'd like to draw back down to the blue zone. Just want to see if the blue zone also falls. Because since we do have a buy model, we really only want to trace it back down to 61%. Yeah, blue zone. That's the bigger fib. NAS now back inside. Not really interested in trading NAS today, but just want to track it here. So this is an early retracement, so if we get a bearish confirmation, it could move fast. We're hoping to get that bearish confirmation and then come up into this. And we still might. It could just drop right now. Anytime you see a little tick like that, sometimes it comes back and really cleans it out. And people always ask me, what's the difference between a violated fair value gap and a deep retracement and rejection? So unless you see an immediate rebalance, so if one candle completely goes above this fair value gap, for example, and unless that second one is an immediate rebalance, an engulfing candle down, Unless you see that, then it's been violated. If you see two candles, for example, this one rip right through and then a small one, even if it's a doji candle, but you see another one close above, I consider that violated. I don't care if another one comes back down. I then now need to see another one be created on the 5M, for example. That's what happened yesterday. Remember, yesterday we ripped right through the only primary 5M fair value gap. And then we saw a doji candle form outside and then another one come back down through. Now, somebody who considers that a good rejection might have taken that and they would have failed yesterday. Let's go back up to the 5M. I think we're about to get a double break and a push down for NAS. Once it crosses here, it's a double break. And it could take whatever 5M fair value gap that's created. For oil, again, we're waiting for that confirmation first. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a rejection of this, bearish confirmation, drop into the blue zone. Look at this. The fact that it's rejecting from the blue zone, not a coincidence. So if we do keep pushing down, it's going to be from this zone. We need to get a double break first, which means we got to break this low first. And then in doing so, we'll most likely get a bearish confirmation here as well. Now you have a double break, bearish confirmation, and let me check US 500 just for a second here. Hold on. I think oil might be making its move. Did we get a 1M bearish fair value gap? Nope, none here yet. So we can check US 500 for a second here. Do we get a double break? No double break here either. But remember, a bit of power of 3. We had consolidation. That would be considered the manipulation. Then a potential push down. Today is Thursday. Thursday likes to retrace back to the weekly range. Now, here's the top of the weekly range for US 500. There's the bottom in this other 4-hour fair value gap. This is what I mean by immediate rebalance. We tapped it. This one broke it, broke the fair value gap. But unless this one closes all the way up here, the next 1 minute 45 seconds, it's not considered immediate rebalance. It's going to switch back to oil. I get the feeling that it's going to gesticulate quite a bit. US oil, look at that, ripping right through that fair value gap. Since we're bullish, we'd actually prefer to see a double break. That's where we're at. We're either going to have a double break and a bullish confirmation and head up to those 4-hour highs, or we're going to get a bearish confirmation, respect this fair value gap, and drop to the blue zone. Even after dropping to the blue zone, we could still come back up. But that's as far as I'm willing to take it if it is a sell-off. Nah, still a whole bunch of nothing. Just the only 1M fair value gap that was left. Sorry, it might be a little hard to see now with all these boxes that are being painted, but just want to check the 4-hour here for NAS. So we closed right above. Now, if this next candle on US oil is not an immediate rebalance, I consider this 5M fair value gap violated. And then it could go all the way back up to here, to this inverse. So look at this on the 4-hour, all consolidation. Right here at 6, we swept out all the highs. Since we swept out all the highs and closed bearish, we would like the 10 o'clock candle to be a continuation candle downward, not a consolidating candle and or definitely not one that pushes up. Because once you take out highs, the next thing you want to do is fill in inefficiencies, and this is the first 4-hour fair value gap down here. So I'm not sure if I'm even interested in a full reversal here. I have to close up here. Oil looks like it's on its way back up as well, so this one's been violated. That's the high of our manipulation range, by the way. US 500, unable to get past the NYC fair value gap still, and the blue zone. .33 seconds left. This could still turn into an immediate rebalance. Let's see if it punches right through and closes down here. Still no confirmation on either. So this has been violated. Now let's see if we get a double break to the upside, bullish confirmation, and then it can take any bullish fair value gap, 5M fair value gap that's been created. Now it's coming back down to the blue zone. So since we violated this 5M fair value gap, I'd need another one here, or a bearish confirmation. I'm not counting this one anymore. I'm going to put this back in here just because it was the first 5M fair value gap created after 10. So it'll give us a good idea of where the 4-hour candle sits. Still just stalled there. We need a bearish confirmation from oil and a bullish confirmation on NAS is what I'd like to see, even though I'm not interested in trading this market. A lot of whipsaw back and forth, 4-hour consolidating. Technically, this thing should be pushing down. Even if you were interested in trading NAS, these are the kind of conditions that make it not worthwhile. As I mentioned before, the 4-hour is consolidating, and even though we had a clean MM, a lot of muddiness, and US 500 is unable to get past the blue zone. Not that NAS can't just pull it along with it, but this late in the game, it's wicking right off the consequence encroachment of the blue zone and the, I believe that's the NYC fair value gap right there, that red one. Or, yeah, from here, sorry. We had consolidation and a push. There was a 4-hour fair value gap down here for US 500, and it did tap the weekly range, whereas there was nothing down here. That's why NAS is the stronger one. It didn't come down and tap this 4-hour. We'll just stick to US oil. And this was going to be that kind of a week. Very, very heavy news week. Unemployment claims today, non-farm payroll tomorrow. I encourage you not even to be in the market tomorrow. On weeks like this, technically you should only be trading Monday and Tuesday. But obviously we're live on Thursdays. We just want to track it, give you as much information as we can, educate you guys. Still gesticulating right there at that inverse fair value gap now. Unable to push past through it. So just got to wait and see if there are confirmation sticks on either side. Just going to jump back to US 500. It's this 4-hour fair value gap that's dictating everything right now in the weekly range. If US 500 is able to get above the blue zone and the NYC fair value gap, then it'll most likely be dragged up. See if we get this bullish confirmation. It sticks. 1 minute left. We've already had an early retracement. So if this thing does want to push up, it can use any fair value gap, which there isn't really any. Not in this one down here. So unless it creates one and taps it. So we have our bullish confirmation. Let's see this, if there's a retracement or a fair value gap created. Just going to jump back to oil here. Oil still no confirmation. Still bouncing off of that 10 a.m. inverse fair value gap. US 500 slowly trying to make its way above. So remember, US 500 is the weaker one, and now it's slowly becoming the stronger one as it's taking out these highs, which NAS has not yet done. This can be a sign that they both want to push up. There you go. You just took these highs. So this is now slowly becoming the stronger pair. Usually you see that right before they both start heading off in the right direction when the weaker one falls in alignment. One minute, 51 seconds left. I want to see this close above this range. Oil still just floating, no confirmation. So this 5M fair value gap did stick. Let's see if it respects it. Change the color here. We're hit a fair value gap, create a fair value gap. That's what we want to see now. Oil finally punching through. Unable to get above that opening NYC fair value gap. Let's see if we get a bearish confirmation here. Still looking for a 5M bearish fair value gap as well. So we did the early retracement just like NAS. Now what we want to see is a bearish confirmation. Tap into this fair value gap if it leaves it behind. And then a drop into the blue zone. Let's see if we get that bullish confirmation. Bullish fair value gap. I should reiterate, we are not interested in trading NAS. Just taking a look at it, just giving you the ticker tape read over here. We are interested if we get a bearish confirmation on US oil, but I want to see a foothold created. See if this bearish confirmation sticks. We could use this fair value gap to drop. On NAS, we did leave a 1M fair value gap. Want to see it tapped. Close above that. No bearish confirmation yet on oil. you got to be careful when going after some of these moves. So even though we have a clean MM, and even if we get a bearish confirmation, remember, we're still bullish. This is a buy model. All that means is the market could come all the way back down here to the 238, 61% blue zone. That's the sell, one standard deviation. But once it hits here, it actually wants to go up. There's your weekly range right here, 4-hour fair value gap. A lot of liquidity down here for sure. But there are some people that do not like to take a sell when the market is, or market is trying to push in one specific direction. Let's check on the daily here real quick. Sorry, wrong chart. So previous day wicked, closed below. Now we wicked again. A lot of rejection here. There's the daily highs. One minute, 30 seconds left. Let's see if we get this bearish confirmation now. So we did not tap. Unless you want to count it all the way up here. Let's see if this candle closes. So this thing should be driving up. "13 seconds left. So we now have a 5M bearish fair value gap. Still no confirmation, unfortunately. And it's only a couple of ticks off giving us a confirmation. That's the sad part. But we're still going to mark this out. Because we could just pull back in here and drop. So there goes NAS. Now it's finally taking out those morning highs, news highs. Let's see where US 500 is sitting real quick. Still no confirmation, still waiting for the confirmation. Remember, this is a weekly fair value gap we're sitting in here. So all-time highs are right up here. So no other no other liquidity points between that and the all-time high now, I think. Let me just check. Oh, we got a 4-hour high here. So we're sitting inside of a 4-hour fair value gap and the weekly fair value gap here. 10 minutes left. As mentioned before, I wasn't interested. Although the strategy would have worked here. It's not a question of whether or not it would have worked. It's a matter of having rules and sticking to them. Avoid certain assets on certain days. Let's see if we get that confirmation here. Hopefully not too late. Three minutes, 22 seconds left. Remember, once we get that confirmation, there's still a 75% chance that it could dip back in here, back into the range. It could hit the 20 EMA and really fill in this 5M fair value gap. That's why we want to wait. If it just drops from here, it drops from here, it leaves without us. Two minutes left. You got to use this to your advantage. As mentioned before, there's a high probability that we'll get a retracement after we get a confirmation. So people who just use that tap and then the first presented 1M fair value gap, that's lower probability than just waiting for it to possibly come back up here. And again, if it takes off without us, that's fine too. Capital preservation is our primary key. Yeah, this is the only place I'd be interested. This confirmation just came so late. Also in the setup here with the clean MM, 5mm, clean 5M entry, it's technically already delivered. We've already taken out all highs and the other side of the manipulation range, so it could technically reverse here too. That's why that would have been the only take profit on a day like today. Ten seconds left. I think this confirmation will stick. Then let's see if it comes back in here. We only got about 6 minutes left in our stream, but who knows, this next candle could just pop up here. There's our confirmation, and it could just hit this 20, drop after that. Let's see. We need a foothold still after confirmation. I'm not counting that one until it's tapped after this. So this is the only place I'd be interested, unless this 5M fair value gap stays open. But either way, now that we have a bearish confirmation, we had a clean MM to the upside, most likely heading down to this blue zone, 61%, maybe even into the DSD high here. Remember, this indicator paints out all the key levels for you. You don't need anything else. The only thing you need is a higher time frame analysis. Just be cognizant of where the daily and the 4-hour fair value gaps are, because once you hit those, you could reverse. But other than that, these are all the primary zones. Just looking for that foothold now. Because remember, you could shoot all the way back up here, tap here, and then push down. paint out this fair value gap, just in case it stays open. One minute 49 seconds. Here on NAS, if we go up to the 4-hour, so this previous candle, the 6 a.m. candle, swept out these lows, the overnight lows. Really punched up right into this 4-hour fair value gap. This could have gone either way, though. We had already wicked right off the consequence encroachment of this higher time frame fair value gap, so it could have just dropped. That's why these days are a little bit more unpredictable, and it still could drop. Look at that. We just filled in this fair value gap. That means we could get a deeper retracement right into this zone now. Let's wait and see. We'll watch this next candle actually. Give it a little bit more time. Now what do we have here though? We have a engulfing candle, what we call an immediate rebalancing candle. And it bounced right off the 50 EMA. But since it closed that 5M fair value gap, this 20 EMA and this fair value gap are the only areas of interest right now. I'm even going to get rid of this inverse just so it doesn't muddy it up a little too much. This is the last candle. I don't think it's going to pop up here and then give us our setup in the next 5 minutes. Good. Let's see. 3 minutes actually. Fortunately, as mentioned before, this is just one of those weeks. What we'd like to see now see how deep it retraces. Okay, so I did technically tap it. What I want to see is a 1M bearish fair value gap created. it doesn't create it on this next 2 candles, we'll give it 2 more minutes. If I don't get a bearish fair value gap, we'll conclude the session there. This is a good area for it to drop to, or drop from, I should say, into the blue zone on the 5M. Is that it? That is a fair value gap. Small, tiny little fair value gap right here. Three, two, one. So we'll conclude our session there. Come back, check it out later, see if it did drop from here, if it did tap that. But we'll see you guys next week.